Welcome to the Vital Check Show. I am one of your two amazing co-hosts.
We're pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh, what is my name? I am Dr. Joe, your friendly neighborhood
You said
MD.
Toxic Joe? Oh no, Doctor.
Oh my gosh, I hope I'm not toxic.
Nope.
I'm here hosting alongside my good friend.
Me, DJ Critical. Hey.
Hey, and today we have a special guest.
We have a guest.
She's family, but I'm not going to give you too much because I don't want you guys to dox her. But her name is...
Miss A.
Miss A. You have a lot of Mr. and Mrs. initials. Like it's just like Mr. B and then Miss A and then it's,
yeah, you got to keep it all sly.
Yeah, keep it a little incognito. I feel you.
Exactly.
Throwing out the government out there.
You got to put like that trench coat with the glasses. That's incognito mode.
That's my vibe.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a little Batman.
Oh, that's your favorite emoji?
The trench coat?
Yeah.
No, I
oh, you like the one with the smoke?
I like a lot of them. You know what? Like the
one like.
I like the straight face one. That's just like the eyes like this and then the mouth like this.
Yeah,
that's my mood most of the time.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So our humble brag, jumping right in, is Built for the Trenches Academy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's football season. It's fall. The air is crisp. Apple cider donuts everywhere.
I love apple cider donuts. And apple cider.
No.
No, just the donuts.
Just the donuts.
Okay.
Which reminds me, we didn't even go apple picking this year.
We did it. You asked me.
And this is actually the usual apple picking crew, guys.
I think you asked me, but y'all didn't set a date, did y'all?
No. It's just we're busy folks.
I might have somebody to bring along this time.
Oh man, that's unfortunate.
No, it's fortunate.
So anyways, Shacket season. So Built for the Trenches Academy, founded by our dear mutual friend Terrell.
We have like some cool friends that just.
I mean, I keep saying it show after show after show.
Do a lot of dope things.
I'm saying. So essentially,
shout out Terrell. Yes.
Yes, is a New York City-based grassroots football skills development program that combines both mentorship and leadership training, aiming to provide middle school and high school football players an opportunity to develop and hone in their football skills. Because as you know, the Northeast, we're not really known for our sports, more like scholarly work.
Right.
You know,
not
when you
really
think
much
football,
athletics. Yeah.
Nah,
right.
you think of the South, right?
Yeah.
So essentially what Terrell and Built for the Trenches Academy is trying to do is they're trying to bring more awareness to New York City football so that these young kids with talent can actually showcase their skill on a more national level.
Yeah, and take them off the streets.
Yes. And let me tell you guys, I'm going to need you guys to get comfortable and gals and go get a cup of tea because it's a long conversation today about the youth.
The youth them.
But anyway, so shout out to Built for the Trenches Academy. You know, a lot of good work going into that. And if you can support, go to their website, check it out. If you can provide skills, monies, whatever you got,
supplies,
anything,
time, attention, just go check them out, spread the word, promote, all that.
Yeah. So, it's fall cuffing season.
Yeah.
I think we spoke that you're now no longer cuffing, you're spinning blocks.
Spinning blocks.
And
bow.
How are we on the block right now?
The block is hot. The block is hot. No, I'm kidding.
Oh boy.
It's going well. It's going well.
Mm-hmm.
We're figuring out how to navigate time. It's just time. Like she's
time waits for no one.
She's busy a lot. She's in nursing. So, a vigorous nursing program.
Okay.
And, I'm letting her do her thing, just supporting.
That's important, yes.
And I'm still dating on the side,
Okay.
And
was that discussed? Because, in other episodes we talked about setting these verbal contracts with the folks that you're, committed to. So has that been discussed? Like, does she know you're still dating on the side? Or...
Okay, yeah, we may have to just just to verify that, but it's not nothing more than, just hang out, just get to know things. It's not like really anything other than just conversation and just hanging out, the dating stuff.
Okay. All right. Any suitors?
Yeah. There's
Oh my.
There's one that just came out of nowhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was an old college person that just popped up.
So is this a theme for you? Like, are we rekindling like past flames and?
You know what? It seems that people are put in your path at different times. So like previously when I encountered these people, like nothing never happened, and they.
It's double negatives.
Nothing ever happened.
Yes, thank you.
Right. Nothing never happened. Thank you for that. So,
as Miss A knows,
yeah.
One of my pet peeves about marrying into my family, is the use of double negatives and
like not never,
or what is it? I never get nothing. Like you never get anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we just talk bad sometimes. Like
but I mean that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. So people are put in your path at different times. Previously, in our walks of life, we just had like simple conversation, and now I was working, and she entered the event, and I was like, oh, I know you. And then
did she enter the event because she saw you post and she's like, oh, let me go see DJ
No,
Critical?
It was like super random. Like I haven't seen her in 12 years.
Oh my. Ooh, did you get butterflies? Because guys and gals, as you know, I love Hallmark. So to me, life is romanticized. So I try to view everything like a Hallmark movie. So did you feel the butterflies? Like, was it like pan in?
Not necessarily butterflies, but it was like oh wow, what's like not like an insect that's not as like butterfly-y?
Oh, I mean it's definitely not a dragonfly.
It's like a caterpillar.
So you never got anything, right? Don't caterpillars like crawl slowly? Like
no, but that's what a butterfly is before it's a butterfly.
Okay.
So it's like
So you're about to flutter, but
yeah, it's like premature butterflies.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just more of a shock thing. Like, oh wow, I haven't seen you in like forever. And then I'm doing such a great job DJing that it just the allure, of my services while I'm on the turntables just it's riveting.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah, so it really engages people, and they're like, wow.
And puts them in a trance.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what happened. So now we're just kicking it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
For the most part, and let's see. Oh, we was talking about hopeless romantic stuff. Okay, that's what I was like. Leading like what? There was a point.
Yes. Hallmark and hopeless romantics.
So yeah, that's part of the hopeless romantic thing, where it's like because in college I seen her and I was like interested, but for whatever reason she was a commuter, so she wasn't on campus. So she was like literally like go to class and like go home. So I wouldn't see much of her. So she just drifted off in the wind.
What an L-I-double-R.
Yeah.
Oh
no, well, she drove, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so that's like the hopeless romantic thing I was thinking about. Like, wow, like you never know, like
Kismet, my favorite word.
Kismet.
Kismet. It means fate.
Oh, fate. Oh, there was a movie.
There's a Hallmark movie called Kismet Christmas.
No, I forgot what this movie was, but it was basically about fate, and it was like really good. Before the end of this episode, I'm gonna find it.
Okay.
A shameless plug, because I watch all those hopeless romantics. My favorite movie, well, one of my favorite movies is The Notebook.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. I have the director's cut special edition.
Oh my.
With
on DVD?
Blu-ray.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a little booklet, and it has like an actual notebook, and it has like a bookmarks and like a whole bunch of
wow. Check you out.
Yeah, I'm out here.
Okay. All right. Well, in more depressing news.
Why is that?
The Notebook was sad.
The Notebook was warm.
I don't remember it honestly to its entirety, but I think I may have cried. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's a tearjerker.
For sure.
I'm gonna find that movie I was talking about. Proceed.
Okay. So, I was at my in-laws yesterday with Mrs. A. And Mrs. A's mom, aka my mother-in-law, pulled out this article from February 3rd of 1999. And
was it in like glass or something, or?
It's a photocopy.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, I thought that page was, like, withered up or something.
No. So it's a photocopy. It held well. And it's like a newsletter that was mailed to, like, some councilwoman. I don't even know. But essentially, it discusses this concept of the great accountability fallacy. And we're all going to put this into context because just a couple of days ago, the New York Times actually released this article saying that this year, for the first time ever since its inception, this National Assessment of Educational Progress, say that 20 times.
National Assessment of Educational Progress.
AKA, it's like the country's report card. Pretty much said that 9-year-olds are doing pretty bad in math.
What grade is 9? Your nails look really nice, by the way.
Oh, thank you. In math.
What grade is a
9-year-olds are 4th graders.
What was I doing in 4th grade? I was pretty good at math. Okay, I had Mr. Ridge.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, he was like, he was evil at times, but it's a really big man, and he used to chew on the end of his glasses.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
that was
his thing. Yeah, he'll just be like this and just chew on it and just like point.
Oh,
it just stuck out. Okay. Carry on.
Okay, Mr. Ridge. And then also reading fell down, and this is again.
This is in the last 2 years. When was it? How long is the stat? Because the pandemic really.
And we're gonna get into that.
What's the word? Manipulated, like, different.
Exacerbated.
Yes.
Like, oh wow, you're a teacher.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely a teacher word. Yes.
Yes.
That to the scores and stuff. It seems like.
So it seems like it's a yearly thing, but the margins in which these test scores, both reading and math, fell is the largest it's ever been in 30 years. So almost every state, I think, except one, saw their math scores fall, and then reading also fell.
What state was that?
My brother asked the same thing. I'm gonna have to reread it. It's somewhere in there. I'll bring it up.
Okay, cool.
But as with everything in this country, right, there are racial and ethnic disparities. So in math, black students lost 13 points compared with 5 points among white students. And right, that can go back to black and Hispanic students more likely to attend schools that are segregated in poverty. Apparently, those schools also stayed remote longer than the wealthier schools. So, like, we already had a divide, right? But now that division got even deeper. So Mrs. A is a 7th grade math teacher. So when we were reading this article last night, we were like, okay, tell me something new. So what is this great accountability fallacy? So it's the notion that the school alone should be held responsible for student achievement. And we kind of touched on this the last time, talking about the village is, should be responsible for the upbringing of children. But essentially, and again, it's funny because now we're saying, oh, this country's even more dichotomized as far in a political field than ever. But this article was talking about liberals and conservative, and this is late 90s.
Right.
So we've always had this very bipolar political fields. So they're like a school, like a factory turns out a product. If the product is subpar, the factory must be at fault. Right? They're saying like this is like the conservative view. And they're saying that testing is the key to promoting higher standards because it will dramatize the school's weaknesses and motivate improved results by the teachers and pupil. I don't think I was ever maybe there's some self-motivation in 4th grade, but like, oh, I failed. Let me work even harder for these state exams.
Well, it was more so like if you didn't pass the state exam, you had the possibility of feeling like left back. Nobody wants to do that. So that was kind of like the motivation or encouragement to try and perform so you don't risk getting held back. Yeah. Maybe.
That's kind of the case, but still the case. But I think it's more like we're now seeing that children need a little bit more than intrinsic motivation, right? Like it's not them wanting to do that. Now, how do we get them to want to do it for themselves? That's the question.
Yeah.
Right?
And like I've always been the school of thought that like we gotta incentivize kids to do better, right? Like unfortunately, like yes, we should all have that bit of intrinsic motivation, but I think at the end of the day, right? Even if you think about rearing a child, right? If you're not into the bow bows, right?
You said rearing?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Raising.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, I'm childless, so I don't. It just sounded weird.
But I feel like that's just a word of the community. I don't know.
Why would you rear anyone? Like, what are you rearing a child?
Okay. Raising a child.
Okay, cool.
Right? If you're trying to do the whole gentle parenting thing, it's behavioral charts. Mm-hmm. And what do? You give stickers and you get a prize. So even from like young.
Oh, that's part of it?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like mean like words and just like communication. I didn't know there was like incentivized things.
Yeah, like if you potty every day, we'll put a little sticker, and if you get a whole row, boom, you'll get to do X, Y, Z.
No, why they can't just listen to you because you're the parent?
But that's the newest thing is the gentle parenting, right? Yeah. Like that's a fairly new concept. So now we're moving into incentivizing, whereas incentivizing wasn't a thing back in the day.
That's your job.
That's just
like,
that you went to school to do your job as a student.
Yeah. Right.
It's different now.
Yeah, you're a child. I'm the parent. I tell you to potty. I don't have to give you anything for obeying the rules.
You sound like my other dear friend who's also childless, and I'm like, I can't wait till you have your own because you're gonna talk your vocal cords out.
Yeah, well,
you talk and talk.
If I tell you to eat the food, I'm not gonna say eat the broccoli so you can get ice cream later. No, eat the broccoli because I said eat the broccoli.
It's a new generation. It's a new generation.
You went to a rude awakening, bro.
Yeah, that's how I was raised. I didn't have a choice.
Right, but what we're
and look at me,
seeing,
I turned out awesome.
Yes,
I have manners. That's what it is. These kids don't have no damn manners because they're looking for gifts and prizes to be a model citizen in the community and to obey rules. Like, oh, I'm going to obey the rules because this, not because it's the right thing to do.
Right, but whose job is it to teach them manners?
The parents. And they want to be gentle.
Well, gentle parenting aside, right? The issue is what is going on in the village. Right? Mm-hmm. What's going on in the village? What is going on in school? And what is going on with that intersection? Right? I think it's just like a me versus them.
There was another article that I just so happened to come across. Well, it was on Instagram. But there was a professor in NYU, I believe, that is getting like scrutinized for being like a hard professor.
Oh, the organic chemistry teacher who got fired.
And then he was like, no, like y'all need to like, we're not going to coddle the students into like passing the class just because my class is reviewed as to be like a really hard class and a lot of people are failing. Like the other professors and stuff just give you easy work, and I assume that we have a vigorous course and it's an important topic.
But it's not, right?
What, chemistry?
Organic chemistry? It's a gatekeeper to get to medicine.
It's someone that takes
irrelevant.
That takes his job. I mean, if you want to be an organic chemist, it's important.
No, it makes no sense, right? Presumably, it's the same topic, right? All the professors are all teaching organic chemistry.
If that's the
why
thing,
is it that yours is the most difficult?
Because he takes it seriously and he's passionate about his chemistry.
Negative.
If that's, you know how many subjects we take that we don't need?
Yeah.
So if that's the case,
the whole educational system should be restructured. I'm not saying
right.
That.
So it's like I feel like
how it stands is
one.
Okay.
I don't think he should get fired. I feel like
I don't.
If
think
there's a student that's taking his class that thinks it's too hard for them, because obviously it's not everybody. There's some people who can do the work and they do it and they pass and they're fine. If you feel like a class is not for you, just withdraw.
But then you're saying like a future doctor, like, hey, I'm gonna have this withdrawal on my record, and then you have to
then do the work.
Okay.
I feel like it's a very simple. If you can't do it, then get a tutor.
No.
Study more. Stop watching TV.
Oh gosh.
Stop playing your video game.
Oh my goodness.
Pick up a book and do the work. Like it's.
Did you ever do pre-med?
I mean, not really.
Okay, because I wasn't playing video games. Okay.
but you passed. You did it though.
First of all, it was a rough patch.
No, I'm not saying it can't be rough. Rough is understandable, but it's doable. It's not impossible. You can do it. And I think that people are just used to not applying themselves. So when they have to apply themselves. It's like, oh my gosh, it's too hard.
I don't think that's what it is, right? Because you're taking a group of type A personalities, right? Presumably, they're already self-selected. They're already like the doers.
Right.
I'm gonna go hard.
So you have not doers.
I mean, there's a bell curve.
Okay.
But I think they're all generally doers, right? If you're pursuing medicine.
Right.
And if you, sir, are just making it difficult just because you want to be known as the teacher who
I don't think he's
fails
making it
90% of whatever it was that
personally I don't think he's making it difficult. I think he's actually like teaching them. And then the other professors, for whatever reason, like they're just not teaching them everything they need to know. What do you feel?
I actually see that in every level of education. There's
right.
always the hardest teacher, and they're the ones that get the... Yeah, I am.
So you want her.
No, he doesn't want me to get fired. He wants me to...
Right.
Yeah.
We need teachers like... We need teachers like
I agree to a certain extent.
That care and gives a damn about the students to teach them what they're here to learn. Not away from organic chemistry, because like you said, like everybody doesn't need organic chemistry, but like an English teacher or a social studies teacher or a math teacher, like I feel like if you're a little like harder or whatever, I don't think that necessarily means that you're at fault, you're doing something wrong, and you need to belittle your curriculum to appease the people who can't really keep up.
But think about it. At the end of the day, what is university? It's a business, right?
That's why they fired him, because they was like they're probably like losing money or getting bad reviews.
The people with deep pockets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was like 80 something.
Complaints.
Like 80 something anyway, but he should have retired.
Yeah, it's an older mindset.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm with him though. If he has a GoFundMe, I'm gonna contribute.
Yeah, we're gonna have to build a community for Critical when he has his children, because his children are going.
They're gonna be militant.
Out.
They're gonna be
scarred.
They're gonna be doers. They're gonna change. Those are the children that's gonna change the world.
Yep, they're gonna be intrinsically motivated,
right?
Right? They're gonna just want to do it.
They're gonna open doors. They're gonna say please and thank you. Stuff that don't happen
fine.
today.
Manners are okay. It's just I think we have different footing in education.
I'm not with the coddling. I wasn't coddled.
So I'm gonna say, how do your students like receive your sternness or your discipline?
So, I mean, there's a term called warm demanding, right? So there is a way to provide rigorous instruction, right? But also the relationship that you have with students is important too, right? So they need to know that even though I'm giving this to you, I care about you and your success, right? So that's really what it's about. I'm not doing this because I just want to be mean, right? I'm doing this because I want you to get everything you can out of this so that you're the most successful person you can be.
Yes.
If that means that I have to, like, right now, you're silent, like, your sounds are off so that we can get through this. I need your participation, like all of those things. There needs to be some type of structure, right? Agreed. So with that being said, a lot of times that's the part that students don't like, right? Or children don't like when you're structuring things, right? I want to, because the complaint is, oh, make your lessons more fun. Okay, but even when I try to make my lessons more fun, then there's this like opting out, right? But then we talked about this. Why are they opting out? The access to the material, right? And this might be things that I'm not capable. Well, not capable. I am capable, but I wouldn't be teaching at 7th grade, right? It's prior skills that they don't know, right? That now I'm trying to teach you on the level that you're in right now, but now it's okay. Well, you need to make it different for me because I can't access this. And granted, there is a way to do that, but the levels are so drastic, right? I'm teaching 7th graders, but I have students that can be on like an algebra geometry level, but then I have students that are not, that are elementary. So it's like, how do you bridge that gap for such a large,
I feel like those people that
grade levels,
unfortunately, are on a lower level is the one that obviously feels like it's harder, and that's not necessarily the case. It's just that you just lack the previous skills that you needed to function properly in this grade level.
And also, like we were talking about this on our way here, but I find in my experience that oftentimes kids act out when there's an intellectual disability.
Right.
Right? So how else can I deviate the attention that I
You can't
I don't know
right.
know this material, but two, I can't even like begin to process this material because I have a disability.
Yeah, you become you make a distraction, or you like you said,
You're the
you
class
act
clown,
out. Right.
You're the one who keeps getting kicked out, suspended, and things like that. And so much energy is spent on just the behavioral issues, right? How do you even bring it back to the educational? Everyone is tapped out. Everyone is working over capacity, and that's the issue.
Is there like still like classes that are like specifically for like students that are not on the same level, or they just like blend them in?
So that's the whole idea, is that we should be providing instruction for students even with disabilities to be able to learn with students even on a higher on grade level.
I feel like that's not fair though.
Yeah,
for neither
but
one.
It's
though.
right, but it's not fair to pull them out and like be like, this is single them out and be like, oh, you're not on grade level.
Like I didn't want to say, but like a special ed class.
Right. That's not education anymore. Right now. Right. Oh, okay. Like we don't do that. However, there are ways that we do that. Right. So during instruction, if you have the capacity to do it, you have another teacher in the room that can literally take students, and it's not just students with IEPs, it's students who need support, right? So maybe those are the students that go to another room or go to just for that particular lesson. So we do that a lot in my school of like, okay, and it doesn't have to be every single day, but that's part of it, right? So if I'm teaching the lesson for today and then there's other skills that you need to actually do that lesson. Yeah. I really can't even do that and the lesson all in that time frame, right? So it's so many things that like we don't have the time, we don't have the manpower,
so much
right?
Pressure on teachers, and
it's a great, like, honestly, I think it's the worst job to have right now.
Where's the mayor? Where's that mayor that want to be on trains and play guitars and be at clubs and be in parades?
Oh, my Lord.
Why is he not up in that budget? Everybody want to talk about the police officer's budget. What about the teacher's budget?
I mean, honestly...
What is he doing? Right. You voted for him?
Budgets... I'm not a New York City resident, so... I do not vote for New York City...
All right, cool. You're lucky.
...positions. But, honestly, like, it's hard, right? You have a budget for an entire state. Obviously, New York City takes a big chunk of that budget. Because of the density of population that's in the city. But right then it's up to the mayor to decide where to put those budget cuts.
Is the mayor or the governor? Is the mayor?
Well, I think the governor just says like, hey, going forward, New York City, here's your budget. Do what you please.
And then the mayor kind of like
allocates. And City Hall has to kind of figure out like how do we...
When was the last time like teachers ever got like a raise or anything?
That's a huge issue. I feel like every single time you ask me a question, it's like, oh, that's an issue, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, of course, working in DOE versus a charter school, different, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the base salary for a teacher is way lower, whether you work in either one, is lower than what you actually do on a day-to-day basis, mm-hmm. right? Like, so I'm not just responsible for teaching students the material. I have to also manage behaviors. I have to like meet them.
Seriously.
Exactly, right? So it's like, but we're not compensated for all of that, right? But we're expected and even like raises are dependent on what you produce.
Yes.
Right? So that's that is an issue, right? So if like we don't even have the resources, going back to the budget, like we don't have the resources to provide for what students actually need, and then we're the ones being held responsible, like that's not fair.
And
right?
that goes back to the great accountability fallacy.
Yeah, I had a friend I was speaking to yesterday, and then she was telling me, she wanted to be a teacher, but didn't get paid anything. So she changed her whole idea of profession and went into nursing and stuff. But like, that's just unfortunate that being that they're not compensated appropriately, that people that probably are passionate and willing to like teach and learn and try to make a difference, is that they don't want to like, change their livelihood because of lack of pay and stuff, because you have to survive.
Yeah.
And that's just...
I mean, I can speak on the city level. It's contractual, right? So actually, U of T is one of the biggest and most powerful unions we have in the city. So, like, let's say, for example, like maternity leave, right? U of T has a very unique maternity leave than the rest of the city unions. So they have big sway and power because of they're the educators for over 1 million kids, right? So they're a powerful group. However, everything has its restraints. You can ask for 3% raise, 4%, 5%, whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if that money's not there, they're not going to give it to you.
Right.
Right. And that's the unfortunate situation. But it's also like how teachers need to get, right? Like, it's just, so they need to get paid more, supported more. Like,
how different is the pay from like DOE to like charter school? Is it like major or?
So from my understanding, there is a couple tens of thousands of difference in pay. But the requirements for a DOE teacher, like the things that you do as a DOE teacher and a charter school, are different. It's like even when we talk about like substitute teaching, right? So in my school, we don't have substitute teachers. If somebody is out, you have to cover. That's part of it. Like that's part of.
So you have to do your class and their class?
Yeah, or whatever, whoever is missing on that day, like you might be on your own coverage. Oh. So you get paid, right, for doing the long hours, for working, covering other classes and all of that. But it's still like covering those classes come with all the things that teaching comes with,
when I had
right?
substitute teachers, it was just a free day.
Yeah. You saw that little roly-poly with the TV on, the VCR?
Right.
It was going to be a good day.
I remember sometimes it was like, just do your homeworks for other classes. Like, and that's just what it was for that period.
Yeah, not in charter schools.
And there are some big differences.
And I went to a really good middle school.
Oh, I know. You guys are excellent students.
Philippa Schuyler. For the gifted and talented, aka IS 383. Shout out to all my Schuyler out there.
But also, like, for me, I didn't go to an excellent middle school. I went to Roy H. Mann in Mill Basin, Brooklyn. And but they had a great gifted and talented class. So my math. And again, I tell this story, no one believes me. We were called the John Hopkins program. I don't know what that meant. I don't know if they funded this. But essentially, I had 2 math teachers. We all had our own workbooks, and you work at your own pace. I took tests when I wanted to. Like...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I worked at my own pace. I did the math teachers were there just to assist me when I had questions.
So you just, taught yourself?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wish I had that.
And I want to say they had intermittent, group, lessons. But for the most part, everyone worked independently.
Yeah, I got to high school and I was really bad at math.
Oh, and then I got to high school. I'm like, what? Wait, I got to learn at everybody else's pace? I was like, hold on.
Yeah, I had to go to night school one time.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It was tough. It was like trigonometry. Like, what? I don't even need that at all.
I mean, yeah.
Trigonometry.
But, and I'm guessing, math now, is... My 7th grade math and your 7th grade math are 2 different experiences.
Yes, my 7th grade math. And when I taught, it was different, right? So I had to relearn how to actually teach this way.
That's right.
Right? So it wasn't the same way that I grew up. I'm saying terms and I'm like, oh, you didn't learn that? Oh, that's not how because that's not how we were taught.
Right.
So the curriculum is different from the way we grew up, but it's all still... It's accessible if students are there at that level, right? But just meeting students where they are means that you actually are not just teaching that. You're teaching grade levels below.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just strange that, well, not strange, but I get it that the whole factory product test scores would determine. So, if the school itself does well, high test scores, then you're more the possibilities of you getting a higher budget increases or something, because
here's at least I'm gonna give you the public school side. It's the saddest thing ever. Okay, so boom, you have poor performing schools,
right?
Let's say your students aren't even showing up to school, right? Because you get paid per day per student.
Okay. Per day per student.
Somehow the budget gets like that. Mm-hmm. Then let's say you have competing charter schools, no shade to Mrs. A, right? Who are now taking your higher performer students.
Right, okay.
From those poor schools. So now you are stuck with an underperforming school. So now what's happening is that they're kind of noticing like all the community issues and the performance stuff, and now they're deeming schools community schools. So they tend to get a lot more funding. I don't know a lot. I don't know the number, but they get more funding.
What does the funding go to?
So it depends on on what the principal deems it necessary to go to. So and a lot of them, and to be a community school, you're partnered with a community-based organization that can help you elevate your school.
Okay.
Whether that's a mental health community-based organization, whether that's an after-school program because you have parents with multiple jobs, don't have childcare, et cetera, et cetera. So it all depends on the needs of your school. However, even that is not enough, right? So I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's also PTAs, right? So if you ever listen to the podcast Nice White Parents, it gives you this case study of this middle school in Brooklyn in Red Hook, I think it was, and the history of that. And like so these French-speaking folks came to Red Hook, and they wanted that school to be bilingual, and the PTA raised tens of thousands of dollars just for that specific bilingual program. Right, so there's also, and then like I remember this one doctor told me like her kid's public school somewhere in the Upper East or West Side, like each parent's recommended donation was $6,000. And what did they do with that money? They hired a chef for the school, right? So, and this is a public school, right? Where we're saying like, oh, everything should be equitable. It's not. It's absolutely not. Right? Because
based on the determines like on location.
Where you live.
Yeah.
Redlining is still, till this day, segregating schools.
Yeah, because even my zone high school is known not to be a really good high school because there's more behavioral stuff, just like people in the community, like they can't go anywhere else, so they just stick them there. Their local
school, their zone school.
Yeah, stick them in there. I was like, yeah, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
But isn't that like the way the world is? Like we're just a microcosm of what is actually happening.
Yeah.
Right? So with that being said, of course, if we're still dealing with the like liberals versus conservatives and like here's, segregation even on the, the adult side, right?
Right.
When we're thinking about like how that
Trickles
is for
down.
children,
Yep.
for children in the education system, again, that article said that we reflect our society, right? We don't shape it. Right? We're a reflection of it.
That's deep.
Right? So when you think about that, it's like, what would you expect? Right? What do we want? We want a society that provides resources where resources are needed and things are equitable. Is society like that? No.
It's a front.
Yeah, because even when I'm in like moving and trying to find a new home, and I'm like, all right, like what's this school district and stuff, like, because you're gonna like
seriously
raise
yes.
kids and stuff.
I'm
so,
literally
like,
stressed out for my daughter's pre-K, right? I'm just like, oh my gosh, like literally today I was like, so there's programs that exist. So now we're talking about charter schools, DOE, Department of Education, public schools, and now there's independent schools. These are your private schools, right?
Private schools, yes.
So they're like the ones that I have never heard of growing up, right? The Fieldstons, the Horace Manns, like the Columbias. Like there's so many private schools, mostly concentrated in Manhattan. So there's an independent school process. So there are multiple organizations that work with Black and Brown communities to help them with that process and enter that process. So one of them, right? Like I think there's 3-tiered membership, and the more expensive one is like.
Wait,
Bro.
So what happens at the bottom tier? Like you don't get as much perks. Like
it wasn't bad, and I think that's what I'm gonna end up going with because I think it was, and that one's like $500, right? Then there's like one for like below thousands, and then there's like a $6,000.
Yeah, but what's the difference in each tier? Like what do you get? Like
there's coaching, 30-minute blah blah.
Oh, okay.
Like each tier, there's add-on benefits to the more money you provide, right? So now there's like a membership for, I guess, the better to do Black and brown families to guide you through this independent school application. And let's not even talk about the cost of these schools, right? 40, 50 grand
tuition
a year for kindergarten, right? Like, what?
Yeah, starting young.
So
it's all
now
preparation.
I'm just like, oh my god.
So that when they get to college, they don't talk about, oh my god, it's too hard.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna be strict with my baby, but my point is like, why am I freaking out for pre-K?
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh my god, I gotta get her tested. I have an alarm set to look for the gifted program. Right? Like, this is insane. But this is me, a mom who was a product of this. You know, I'm fortunate to be of the gifted programs in like a specialized high school, but you know, where I live, it's the nicer part of the city.
But still,
the public school system is not at 100%. But yet the town over, where the houses start at 1, 2, 3, 4 mil, the property taxes are insane. It's one of the top high schools or public school systems in the country, right? Literally just down the street. But what does it take for me to live down the street?
No, you should just like, you know, get cool with like a neighbor from there and just use their address.
There's no, you don't, the neighbors, there's no cool with neighbors. They barely have apartment buildings.
Oh, you just bring them some bread. Like sugar or
baked
something.
Bread?
Yeah, so bring an apple pie, you know, like they do in themselves.
But the point is like, yeah, like adulting now is like, okay, let alone let's talk about paying my student loans. Now I gotta think about the decision of where I live because that's gonna impact my baby's future. That's a mind, you know?
A mind. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You're just making it harder for me to like.
Don't
think about having kids.
Don't think too hard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's a wonderful experience.
It is. You're just gonna have to do it.
It's tough.
But I want to take it back to like this 1999 article.
Yeah.
So, and it's crazy because again, it's still true to this day. More and more students are sent to school ill because working parents can't stay at home with them. Visits to the nurse are rising 20% per year in some states. Adolescent behavior is becoming more and more provocative, and that made me LOL a little bit. Parents spend less time with their children and assert less authority over them and are themselves less respectful of the school's authority and much more likely to challenge its decisions. These and other negative trends that occur among families from all socioeconomic levels, make students harder to reach and teach. They make it more difficult to raise scores even when the schools adopt new standards and improve instructions. So all that to say, you need home training.
Yeah, I'm thinking that was a thought too, like just homeschooling.
No.
No.
Because it's the village, right?
Exactly.
Like it's the school and the parents, like that needs to home training.
Homeschooling. Oh my gosh. You know, like that's even harder, right? Because now you have to detach yourself from the role of a parent to the role of an instructor.
I mean, a parent is an instructor.
But like academically.
Right.
Oh. I mean, but you teach your child stuff at home.
I mean, yeah, we go over like sight words, how to read, how to trace, but that's not like I'm not by no means.
Because they have a block set of hours per day to like do that. Like teachers. No, you send them to learn, and then you bring them, and they come back to you. Like if you're the parent that you have to like set aside, it would be hard. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. Okay, that was
Oh yeah. I agree that the whole parent and teacher at the same time. It's tough.
and God bless anyone who's able to do that successfully, but that to me is hard.
Yeah,
it seems hard.
But that's the thing also with the whole reading thing, right? You could do that at home with your child, right? But when it gets to a certain level of math, I hear a lot like parents are like, I don't do it that way, or I don't remember that. So the support you get, right, at home matters.
Yeah, that's true.
And which one is most likely to be taught or helped with at home is going to be reading over math, right? So it's also that part of it is like parents parental, I guess, level of education, right?
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference, right? Can you help your child with their homework?
But even like level? Me, right, with the doctorate level of education, with how this is getting taught, I might as well
start over. Yeah.
I'm gonna send them to like Kumon or something.
Are schools are they still doing the like virtual program or no?
So schools are back in session.
Okay.
But the other thing also is that there are a lot of vacancies, right? So some schools are like, we don't have enough teachers, so we have to go virtual some days. That's how schools are, some of the schools are. We can't have students in a school and not have the adults to be able to be in that school for them. So therefore, virtual is now becoming like, is a result of the teacher shortage.
Okay, it's a teacher shortage.
Yes, okay. Nationwide.
I'm not surprised, right? Like, you don't treat them well, you don't pay them well, and it's like my cousin left teaching, and now she's a virtual assistant in medicine, right? Because teachers have amazing skill set.
Left teaching.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously they've acquired an excellent skill set that can be applied to different fields.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So why not, right? Like, I remember my mom told me this guy died on the job because he's so stressed of a heart attack. So, I don't know, but it's looking grim out there.
Tough.
Yeah. So, not to be a Debbie Downer, but the youth need help, and so do our dear teachers.
That's a fact.
So, what should our random act of kindness be? What do you think, Mrs. A, is something worthwhile that will actually make an impact in the educational system? That humble listeners can contribute to.
I mean, I think that if you are an adult and you know a young child, like even just spending time with them, right, is something that makes a huge difference. There are children that go home to empty houses, right, because their parents are working or things like that. Like, just be a figure in a child's life is one simple thing that you can do to like really make a child feel like they're loved, feel cared for, feel like there's somebody there that really, is invested in them.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I would say.
I also want to add, take a minute and show some appreciation for our teachers. I mean, I don't know if you guys really appreciate a thank you note, but some lunch would be nice.
Yeah, an apple.
No. Absolutely not.
We're far beyond that.
Yeah. A gift card.
An apple gift card. Okay. All right, that's fair.
Donate supplies, volunteer for a career day, do something, right? Because our teachers and our educational system are on the brink of a collapse. And we got to rely on the future generations, and if they're not even like adding
the future generation is complaining about courses being too hard.
Oh Lord, oh gosh. Okay.
And I found the movie.
Okay, what's that? Okay.
So it's called The Adjustment Bureau with Matt Damon and Emily.
That sounds familiar.
Emily Blunt. Yeah. It's such a good movie. So, quick synopsis. So it says, just in the brink of winning a Senate seat, politician, blah, 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 Matt Damon meets a ballerina, and then some mysterious men conspire to keep him away from her. And then he knows about this and, does things to try and change fate, basically. Like, he sees her on a bus, and she's on the bus, and then he tries to, always be at the bus stop to, see her again. Try to, make his own fate.
Understood.
So, yeah, that's me, kind of.
Cool. All right, see you at the bus stop.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next episode. Thank you, Mrs. A. We appreciate you and all that you do.
Yes.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
I hope you continue teaching.
I hope so too.
Get her Apple gift card.
Yes.
Oh, that would be great.
Or maybe Grubhub or Uber Eats or something.
Anything. Show your appreciation.
Yes. All right, with that kind, folks, Hasta luego. See
Bye.
you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.